In a far-off kingdom, there lived a young prince named Alexander. Alexander was a brilliant young man, but he had a tendency to overthink everything. Whenever he faced a problem or a decision, his mind would race with endless possibilities and scenarios, leaving him feeling anxious and overwhelmed. Despite his overthinking, Alexander was determined to live a happy and fulfilling life. He studied philosophy and spirituality, hoping to find a way to overcome his mental obstacles and find inner peace. One day, Alexander heard of a wise sage who lived deep in the forest and who was said to possess great wisdom and knowledge. Determined to seek out this sage, Alexander set out on a journey into the forest. After many days of travel, Alexander finally arrived at the sage's dwelling. The sage welcomed him warmly and listened as Alexander poured out his heart, describing his struggles with overthinking and anxiety. The sage listened patiently and then spoke, "My dear prince, I understand your struggles, for I too have experienced the same. But I have learned that the mind is like a wild horse, and if we do not train it, it will run wild and cause us great suffering." The sage then taught Alexander the practice of mindfulness and how to observe his thoughts without judgment, letting them pass by like clouds in the sky. Alexander practiced diligently, meditating for hours each day, and gradually began to experience a sense of calm and clarity that he had never felt before. As he continued to practice, Alexander realized that his overthinking was simply a habit of the mind, and that he could choose to break free from it by cultivating a more mindful and balanced way of being. But just as Alexander was beginning to experience a sense of peace and freedom, he was called back to the kingdom, as his father, the king, had fallen ill. Alexander returned to the kingdom and was immediately swept up in a flurry of activity and responsibilities. His old habits of overthinking and worry began to creep back in, and he found himself feeling overwhelmed and anxious once again. He tried to meditate and practice mindfulness, but his mind was too restless and agitated to find any peace. Feeling lost and hopeless, Alexander remembered the sage's words about the mind being like a wild horse. He realized that just as a horse needs to be trained and tamed, his mind also needed discipline and practice. With renewed determination, Alexander began to practice mindfulness in every moment of his day, not just during meditation. He learned to be present in the moment, focusing on the task at hand, and letting go of worries and distractions. As he continued to practice, Alexander found that his mind gradually became more calm and focused. He was able to make decisions with greater ease and clarity, and he felt more grounded and centered in every aspect of his life. Years passed, and Alexander became a wise and beloved ruler, renowned for his calm and balanced way of being. He passed on the teachings of mindfulness and the importance of training the mind to his subjects, and many people were able to overcome their own struggles with overthinking and anxiety. Alexander's story is a reminder that while overthinking can be a persistent and challenging problem, it is something that can be overcome with practice, discipline, and a willingness to change. By cultivating mindfulness and a more balanced way of thinking, we can break free from the chains of overthinking and live a more peaceful and fulfilling life.